Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me, and I am back. This is a brand new Tanjiro What If. What if Tanjiro had perfect copy breathing? And I wanted to say this just flat out. This month, I'm going to be grinding. I'm going to try my best to absolutely get... No, I'm not going to try my best. I am going to give you guys daily what ifs. Like, I'm going to do it no matter what, barring like some crazy stuff happening, knock on wood. Don't want anything crazy to happen. But obviously, I want to give you guys daily what ifs. So that's what I'm going to do. And all of it is going to be one shots, the same way we've been doing them the last like week or so. And yeah, I just wanted to quickly say that we're starting off with the perfect copy Tanjiro. We are probably going to be doing some other stuff too, maybe, or some Deku what ifs probably. Maybe some every so often. Maybe I'll do some other stuff like Blue Lock or something like that. I haven't decided just yet what I'm gonna do, but for now, I got a Tanjiro what if for y'all. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. So I don't want to waste much more of your time. Check the links in the description for the Discord, the Spotify, all that good stuff. And yeah, that's all I got to say. I hope you guys enjoy, and I want to get right into it. So let's get it. This story starts when Tanjiro is very, very young. And the reason why it starts so off so early is because Tanjiro's ability to actually copy or remember things is far greater than he's ever thought it would be in the original version of Demon Slayer, because Tanjiro's able to read things, understand things, and figure out things a lot quicker than normal. And that includes just your simple things like reading books or learning various things, like trying to learn like, your simple kind of school like things you have to do. And Tanjiro, he learns everything so easily. He also remembers things so easily, and that includes his father's movements when doing the dance of basically the fire god, right? The dance of the sun, other known as the Hinokami Kagura. Now, with doing this, he's able to read it and even copy what his father is doing. He copies it in such a way that when he's alone in the home, he's copying it to a T. Like specifically, he watches it one time, or maybe really a couple times, and he's able to copy every movement perfectly, and he remembers every little bit perfectly. And on top of that, when he sees his father actually be able to take out a bear, yeah, that's another time where he gets a chance to basically learn and also see what his father is truly capable of and what he's able to truly do. Now, after seeing all of this, after learning all of this, and after figuring out all of this, he eventually would watch as his father would pass away. He knows his father is very sick. He knows his father is on his last legs, and he watched everything his father ever did. Now, does that mean that he knows everything his father ever would know? Not quite. Because his father wouldn't show everything you could possibly imagine, but he would show enough to where Tanjiro has that little bit of him still with him. And Tanjiro is able to hold on to that little bit of what his father once was, and he can hold on to it and really kind of, remember his father in such a great light. On top of that, he's able to remember and also do things his father was able to do at one point. On top of that, Tanjiro continues to try to, help out his family, do various things, and his copy kind of breathing or his copy ability isn't really helpful, at least for now, until way later, in which this is when things go basically exactly the same, in terms of legitimately the story of Demon Slayer. And then eventually Tanjiro has, the whole thing where his family gets, and then his sister, he tries to save his sister. Now, protecting himself from his sister and her attack initially as a demon isn't too difficult for Tanjiro. I mean, yes, he's not super strong, but he also was able to copy his father's ability to breathe a certain way. And on top of that, he's able to kind of figure things out to an even larger degree in terms of how to keep her away from him and stuff like that. And eventually Giyu would show up, and eventually Giyu would kind of try to strike down Nezuko, but Tanjiro would stop him with various kind of techniques that he's learned. And Giyu's like, oh, okay, so he must be like a demon slayer already, or he must be someone who has trained or was trained by various demon slayers or something along those lines. But you would eventually learn that Tanjiro actually wasn't trained by anybody. Like, he wasn't trained by anybody at all. And this would make him very surprised. I mean, he's very surprised by this. And even so much so that when he starts kind of fighting with Tanjiro a little bit, nothing insane, but he does fight with Tanjiro a little bit. After fighting with Tanjiro just for like a slight little bit, he realizes like he's starting to learn my skills. Like, he's starting to learn everything that I can do. And he's honestly at a loss for words. He's thinking to himself, how? Like, how is Tanjiro figuring these things out? How is he learning how to like approach fighting me? And how is he learning like these various things? It's actually blowing his mind right now. And eventually he would see his sister Nezuko defend him and decide, okay, yeah, Tanjiro is fine. Like, his sister actually is, you know, not a typical demon, and blah blah blah. Now, all that stuff obviously would still happen, and Tanjiro would eventually get sent off to Urokodaki. And when Tanjiro would face off with the temple demon, which that eventually would happen, I mean, under, like, you know, the circumstances that are in front of him, he would actually be able to handle himself really easily. I mean, even when Urokodaki would show up and help out with the whole, because they still need the sun to get rid of him. But when Urokodaki would show up, he would be like, whoa, okay, this kid, he knows what he's doing. He knows what's going on, and he definitely has some insane potential. And Tanjiro basically would begin training with Urokodaki, and Urokodaki would teach him via words initially, like how to do certain things. But Tanjiro would tell him like that all his life he's learned via kind of seeing, and he's learned via copying what the other person is doing. And Urokodaki stops him and he's like, yeah, okay, I got you. Like, you don't have to say anymore. If you truly believe it's going to help you, then why not? Let's give it a shot. So Urokodaki starts showing him different techniques, all the water breathing techniques, and even they kind of spar together as well. And he quickly realizes that in a matter of days, Tanjiro is able to perfectly copy the entirety of water breathing and the style that has been made, and even sees different ways that Tanjiro is utilizing his fighting style, and it looks very similar to the one and only. It looks very similar to Giyu Tomioka. And when he sees this, he's like, how do you know how to move like that? How do you know how to fight like that? Because not only is it similar to Giyu Tomioka, but it's also similar to a former student by the name of Sabito, being that obviously Giyu has taken a little bit from Sabito here and there in terms of his training and ability. So when he sees this, he's like, this is insane. This kid, he's like the best of all worlds, and it's only been a week. It's only been 2 weeks, but he does realize that Tanjiro's like raw ability is amazing. Like, his ability to learn and all that stuff is insane, but it doesn't change the fact that his body itself is not ready. So he believes that, yes, he has perfectly copied and learned all water breathing techniques outside of the 11th form, being that of, you know, a form that Giyu Tomioka has created himself. But he also understands that his body needs to be pushed to the degree that he needs to basically be at peak form. So that's what they do for a very long time. That's all they're doing is training, and training. Like, they are pushing his limits to a different level, and they're making sure, like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that he's strong, he's powerful, and they're doing all these things. And really, it's helpful because Tanjiro's also learning, and very easily learning, how to utilize his breathing techniques, like concentration breathing and stuff like that, giving him such a head start on everything that you could imagine, and having a lot of time to just literally full on focus on physical ability in terms of like push-ups, sit-ups, running, like, you know, anything along those lines. Having straight up like 2 years to just do that and make him tip-top shape, make him peak performance, is something that is going to greatly benefit Tanjiro to an insane degree. And yes, he does train with Sabito and Makomo's spirits, but he doesn't really need it. And after those like 1.5 years ish or something along those lines, he eventually is prepared for the final selection. But the final selection itself is a very trivial thing for Tanjiro in this version. Because yes, in terms of physical ability, he's similar to the like original Tanjiro, but his breathing style and also his breathing techniques, like his concentration breathings, are so much better that to the point where he's actually even more fit than usual. So his base skill, is his base like physical ability is similar, but everything else is way beyond comprehension, like way beyond all of the stuff that he's able to really, figure out, or all the stuff that he normally would be into in the original. Now, Tanjiro's ability is ridiculous, like ridiculous to the point where this final selection is nothing. He goes in, he defeats all the demons within the final selection, and let's just say he basically pulls a Sabito. Like, that is the whole thing. And Sabito even tells him this. He's like, you'll be basically forced, or you'll be in the spot where you need to make sure that everybody is alive, everybody is safe, and everybody can truly live. And that's exactly what Tanjiro does. He makes it so everyone can truly live, and Tanjiro protects everyone there. And Tanjiro does something that really they haven't seen in a very long time. And he defeats every demon within the forest. And yes, they're going to have to figure that out for the next final selection in terms of, like, getting demons back in there. But Tanjiro returns to Urokodaki and his sister Nezuko. And Urokodaki tells him that he is the most promising student he's ever seen. Even more promising than the one and only Wind Hashira that they speak of now. He might even be more promising than Giyu Tomioka. Like, far beyond, especially when he was younger. At this age, Giyu was nothing compared to Tanjiro. No offense to Giyu Tomioka, but that is the truth. At the end of the day, Tanjiro has proven that he is leaps and bounds above so many. And his copy breathing, it doesn't just stop there. Because Tanjiro has perfectly copied water breathing and perfectly copied a lot of the Hinokami Kagura. But on top of that, perfectly copied concentration breathing, or concentration breathing constant. But that's not the end of it. When he faces off with the swamp demon for the first time. Because when he faces off with him, initially he's just fighting, utilizing water breathing and all that stuff, and outclassing him by a good chunk, like outclassing him by a mile. But then he realizes something. He copies something without really understanding and noticing it. But he copies his ability to create portals. And as he does, he creates a portal, and Nezuko would jump through it, landing a kick straight to the head of the swamp demon, giving an opening to Tanjiro and slicing the neck off the swamp demon. And as he does this, he's in shock with himself, thinking, how did he do that? Like, are you kidding me? He was able to literally do that. He was able to make a copy of the swamp demon's straight up ability. Like, you're telling me that he was able to make a copy of a blood demon arts? Yes, obviously he doesn't know, like, that's what it's called, but he realizes he's able to make a copy of it, and that makes him insanely, like, shocked. He's shocked by this because he's thinking to himself that not only can he fully copy the abilities of demon slayers, but he can fully copy the abilities of actual demons. And in this realization, he now understands that his ability might be ridiculous, that it might be the most insane thing that he's ever thought of, and he never knew in his life that he was able to do something of this degree. But at the same time, I mean, how would he have known? How would he have known? He didn't even know demons existed until not too long ago. So the fact is, he is just cracking and really introducing himself into the potential that his abilities truly have. And that right there is not only shocking, but it's scary at the same time. Because the realization of your capabilities is something that is a little scary from time to time, but at the same time also extremely exciting for Tanjiro, and he's excited to see what he can do. And as the defeat of the swamp demon is over, and as he saves this village, he would head off to the next place, which would be Asakusa, which is the city that never sleeps. Now, this area or this place is when he faces off with Muzan for the very first time. But obviously he can't really fight Muzan right here and right now, but he does know that this person right here is someone he needs to keep his eyes on because this is somebody who can truly, truly destroy humanity as he sees it now, but he knows he wants revenge. He needs revenge for his family, for his sister, and for everybody he's harmed in the past. And he tells Muzan this. He tells Muzan that he has never met a demon slayer like him. He's never met somebody like him. And he tells Muzan this with the utmost confidence. And Muzan's like, what the hell is this guy even talking about? What is he even going on about? But what Muzan doesn't know is that is a fact. He's never met a demon slayer like Tanjiro. And this little thing where he basically sends 2 demons after Tanjiro while he's talking to Lady Tamayao and Yushiro. He has no idea that these demons don't stand an absolute chance. And after talking to Tamayao and Yushiro, they come to a conclusion like, all right, they need the blood of Kizuki, they need blood of demons to cure his sister, and they need a lot of information, in which he nods his head. But he also brings up the fact that he would like to see their blood demon arts, in which they're like, whoa, okay, what do you mean? Like, why would you want to see those? And he tells her, look, I know it sounds crazy, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I can literally copy your blood demon arts. In which, of course, Yushiro himself's like, I'm not doing anything to do with this. But Lady Tamayao is like, are you sure about this? Like, are you sure? And she's like, well, she basically tells him like, are you 100% sure this is a good idea? And he's like, yes, trust me. Trust me. Like, I'm able to copy it. I've already done it and I can show you. And that's exactly what he goes to do as he goes to make basically a portal. And as he does it, showing off his ability to literally make a portal underneath him, he immediately would see a ball come flying through out of nowhere. Literally a ball about to smack them in the face. And he's like, oh, crap. He immediately would get them out of harm's way, and he would go fight the 2 demons that are outside. And it seems like the 2 demons that are outside are just a tiny bit overconfident, because they seem like they're thinking they're fully capable, fully able, and fully easily able to defeat Tanjiro. But Tanjiro makes it very, very clear that this is not the case. And it seems like the fight goes pretty well in the favor of Tanjiro. But Lady Tamayao would even show her blood demon art, her blood bewitchment, in which she basically, does her blood demon art and creating like spells using like the scent of her own blood, which basically takes the appearance of like a red and white type of thing, or waft of some sort. And it obviously takes her cutting herself, but obviously Tanjiro's like, okay, well, that's not very useful for me. I'm not going to cut myself. That's kind of crazy. But he is able to copy it, and he copies it, and he shows it off just a little bit, just to prove to her, like, I can do this, in which she's in shock, like, whoa, okay, so that's interesting. But he also tells her, like, I guess your blood demon art's not that useful for me. I don't really want to cut myself. And she's like, yeah, that makes sense. Now, with that said, he does prove to her like what he's capable of and what he can do. And she tells him, you need to get the blood of various demons. And in doing so, and after all that is said and done, you are able to basically copy some of the strongest blood demon arts from so many other demons. This could make things so much greater. And Tanjiro's like, yeah, I truly believe that, but who's to say I can copy blood demon arts from the strongest demons that are out there? There's a good chance that that's not the case, but nonetheless, even if that's true, does it really matter? Because he can copy so much more. In which Lady Tameyao's like, wait, so you're telling me you can copy movements, you can copy this and that? And he's like, yes, I can. In which she tells him one thing and one thing only: do not die, because you might just be the chance, the moment, and the opportunity for the demon slayers to truly get the upper hand. In which she tells him that these little missions he's going on aren't worth it. None of it is. He needs to find a way to go straight to the Hashira and go learn from them immediately. Because if he can copy every single technique, every single ability, and every single style, there's no reason for him not to. in which Tanjiro hears this and he's never thought about it like that. He's never even taken a quick like wink at that idea, but it's true. But after all that is said and done, he would leave and he would be headed off on his next mission, thinking to himself that he has to find a way to the Hashira mansion, in which he tells the crow like he needs to basically show him the way, go over there, he needs to whatever. And the crow is like, nah, I'm not gonna do that, like I can't just show you the way, like we don't know for sure what's going on or whatever. And he ends up deciding, okay, whatever. So he goes meets with Zenitsu and heads off and continues kind of like defeating different demons, and that includes the mansion where he would get the blood of Kyogai, which this fight is so much easier for Tanjiro. Not only because he can create a portal and just straight up appear there and slice his neck off, but also in terms of skill, Tanjiro is at a totally different level at this point, like way beyond so much. And this would even help because when he would finish early, he would see the one and only Zenitsu utilizing the first form of thunder breathing, thunderclap and flash. And when this is happening, he sees it in its entirety. And when he watches it happen, he realizes that he can do it now as well. But the thing is, he just utilizes the kind of the idea of it. He doesn't like straight up, like, oh, I'm going to utilize it as thunder breathing. No. He can now combine it with his water breathing. And this right here makes him realize that learning from the Hashira is even more important, because if he learns how to utilize so much more from the Hashira, it could end up being the perfect gateway into making the greatest fighting style in existence. And his combination of so much of all of these breathing styles will be ridiculously powerful. And he learns it from Zenitsu, gets them out of there, and would even meet Inosuke for the very first time. Now, he doesn't learn anything from Inosuke because Inosuke just wants to fight. He just comes down and tries to squab with him, and he fights a little bit. And he would kind of prove to Inosuke that he's stronger than him because, well, while Inosuke is kind of like fighting, he's learning how he fights. And as this is happening, Inosuke would eventually lose, obviously. And Tanjiro would basically be this like person that Inosuke realizes like, wait, so you're telling me he's already better at fighting than me hand to hand? He can do this better, he can do this better. And he looks up to Tanjiro as someone he can learn from and get better from. And even Zenitsu, to an extent, is looking at this like, okay, I can prove myself and I can get better as long as I stick with these people, as long as I stick with Tanjiro, and as long as I continue to get stronger, and as long as I continue to push myself to get better. And both of them see it this way as well. And this would lead to them heading off to a nearby like house of some sorts to get some food and get some downtime, get some basically some sleep and some rest. And eventually they would be headed off to a nearby mountain, Mount Natagumo, where a lot of demon slayers seemingly are going missing, and a lot of demon slayers seemingly are for the most part actually like losing themselves, right? They are no longer safe and they are no longer okay. So Tanjiro goes over there, and obviously Zenitsu and Inosuke follow suit to a certain extent, and they clear through this forest pretty easily. Like, Tanjiro does still spare the mother spider demon in terms of the pain and all that stuff and utilizing that specific form, but he also utilizes thunderclap and flash, or a version of it, via like, water breathing and stuff, and he absolutely obliterates through this entire forest. And he realizes the strain it does put on his body, but the more his body feels the strain of thunderclap and flash, or the version of it he's created, the more his body's gonna become attuned to it. And in doing so, just makes him even better, right? Makes it even stronger. He slices through the neck of the father spider demon, and eventually they come across Rui, in which Tanjiro does have, the ability to take on Rui with the help of Inosuke now, because Inosuke's not, stuck fighting somebody else. And Rui, yes, is a challenge for Tanjiro, is somewhat a challenge, but it's not a challenge in the way of like some crazy powerful demon. Rui has split his power among his family, and Tanjiro's ability utilizing water breathing is at a ridiculous level. And on top of that, his ability to combine water breathing with thunderclap and flash allows him to do stuff that are overwhelmingly more powerful against Rui. So when he basically gets Inosuke to set him up, and so as Nezuko, this would lead to him utilizing Thunderclap and Flash combined with water breathing, or even combined with that little bit of the Hinokami Kagura that he understands, and he slices through the neck of Rui without even him realizing what's going on. And before you know it, Rui is down for the count, and Tanjiro, with the help of Inosuke, of course, even, let's be honest, Tanjiro did most of the work, but still, he did help. So with the help of Inosuke, they were able to defeat a lower moon pretty easily, like pretty damn easily. And Tanjiro, well, he doesn't learn from Rui's like blood demon arts and stuff like that, but at the same time, he believes that he won't need them. He doesn't need them necessarily, and he believes that the more he overwhelms himself with, the more things could potentially get more difficult. So he holds off on kind of learning more blood demon arts because he wants to start training with the Hashira. And before you know it, Gyu would show up, and Gyu would talk to them and basically talk about what they're going to do and blah, blah, blah. And then out of nowhere, Shinobu would go to strike down Nezuko. And this is where a fight would break out, not only between Gyu and Shinobu, excuse me. A fight would also break out between Tanjiro and Kanao. And Inosuke doesn't really know what to do. He's like, what do I do? But then eventually he decides to side with Tanjiro, helping out with Kanao. But Tanjiro is learning the moves of flower breathing already and is actually reading Kanao pretty good, like pretty well. But Kanao has a lot in her arsenal, more than he would expect. But eventually the fight would be shut down in a draw, at least for the moment, when the crows would basically call and tell them, like, Tanjiro and Nezuko need to be brought to the Hashira mansion unharmed and blah, blah, blah. And that's exactly what occurs. Now, this is when they decide if Nezuko and Tanjiro should still be Demon Slayers. That decision is pretty easy, especially with Ubuyashiki. Now, that decision is pretty simple and straightforward, and eventually that decision would be made. Tanjiro and Nezuko are Demon Slayers. But there's another thing Tanjiro wants to tell them. Another thing that they need to understand is that he can basically learn so much from them. In which, obviously, the Hashira are like, yeah, no shit. Everybody can learn a lot from us. But Gyu would shut them down and tell them, hey, listen to the kid. Trust me. Which he would then explain. Tanjiro would further explain his ability to copy things so perfectly, to the point where he can utilize an ability or a breathing style legitimately perfectly that they just replicated. In which they don't believe him initially, in which immediately Gyu says that he will prove it now, in which he would activate or utilize Dead Calm. And as he utilizes this, he tells them how they know how long it took him to figure this out, to learn it, to basically teach himself how to utilize it. And Tanjiro will learn it in watching it one time. And Tanjiro does just that, proving to them that he really does have a perfect copy ability, almost like the copy breathing or a copy breathing, in which they basically are in shock about this, but they're like, how is it going to help him to know everybody's things or everybody's, breathing styles? Isn't it just going to overwhelm him? In which Ubuyashiki says, no, it's not. What it's going to do for Tanjiro is it's going to make him the most prepared and the most deadly demon slayer they have ever seen. And it's not about the specific breathing styles itself. It's about knowing so many techniques that he now knows every technique that he needs for every single kind of situation you could ever think of. And that right there is what's going to help Tanjiro. And that right there is what's going to make him such an insanely powerful demon slayer. And they listen to him. They listen to Ubuyashiki, and they decide that they're going to have Tanjiro learn as much as possible. So over the course of the next month or so, all they do is teach Tanjiro various techniques, especially like further breathing styles, and also further learning with the other breathing styles as well. from the Wind Hashira to the Mist Hashira to the Love Hashira, all of them alike. And eventually they actually grow some sort of liking to Tanjiro. Now, the Wind Hashira, not so much, but everyone else, for the most part, actually mess with Tanjiro. They're thinking, oh, you know what? He's a good person. He's a good dude. He's actually very strong, very powerful now, and this and that. And as all this is happening, everything else kind of goes very similar, right? Akaza doesn't show up at the Mugen Train, but Rengoku is able to handle the Mugen Train for the most part. And the whole thing with the with Daki or with the Entertainment District would be for the most part handled by Tanjiro and Nezuko, Inosuke, and Zenitsu. And this would be the first Upper Moon to be defeated. And well, let's just be honest, Tanjiro's able to fend on his own, if not really take the fight to Daki and Gyutaro, as basically he's able to read their movements a lot easier and able to read everything. Yes, he's not copying their abilities, but he's reading their movements and reading everything that is being thrown at him. And on top of that, utilizing various techniques, various breathing style techniques that allow him to gain such an upper hand that push him beyond his limits. And when he faces off with Gyutaro, there's something else that his copy breathing helps him basically follow, and his copy breathing helps him kind of awaken, and that is his Demon Slayer mark. Awakening his Demon Slayer mark and allowing himself to learn how to push it beyond its limits almost instantaneously via his copy ability is something of extraordinary measures. And on top of that, yes, he doesn't have a way to just learn easily sun breathing, but his little bit that he knows allows him to train in it and also combine sun breathing with various other techniques that he's learned from Wind Hashira, from Iguro, from Muchiro, from Mitsuri, from Giyu, from the Stone Hashira or Gyome, right? All of these people, he's learned so much from them. And as he awakens all these things while facing off with Daki and Gyutaro, this is when it's proven. This person, Tanjiro Kamado, is finally the copy-breathing Hashira, because he defeats Gyutaro and Daki with the help of Tengen. And really, Inosuke and Zenitsu weren't really needed during this fight, but they did help from time to time. They helped here and there. But eventually the defeat would ensue. And let's just say, all this that's happening makes a lot of noise towards Muzan. Because Muzan's thinking to himself, whatever this kid is, well, he needs him gone ASAP. He needs him gone as soon as possible, because he seems to just get stronger and stronger, in which this is when obviously the idea of the Swordsmith's Village would come to his table, and he would send off, Gyoko and Hantengu. Now, what they don't know is that Tanjiro will be there as well, but frankly, Muzan's thinking to himself, oh, that's good. If Tanjiro's there, that just means he'll perish with everyone else. But what he doesn't know is that that is far, far incorrect, because Tanjiro being there makes things a lot easier and makes things a lot more sustainable, to where Tanjiro is already pretty progressed in sun breathing now with the help of Rengoku, but also progressed in every other facet of breathing styles, making a fight with an upper moon or against Hantengu look easy, at least to an extent of comparing it to normal. Because yeah, it's Tanjiro, Nezuko, Genya, and Mitsuri fighting, alongside each other. But Tanjiro's ability to read movements makes every form of Hantengu kind of look like a joke. Because yes, they get a slight upper hand, and then out of nowhere, Tanjiro overcomes that upper hand, utilizing portals, utilizing various other techniques that he's learned from either the Demon Slayers or even from demons themselves. And eventually Hantengu is overwhelmed, and with Muchiro over there kind of facing off with Gyoko, awakening his Demon Slayer mark, and so does Mitsuri, Tanjiro reveals his own once again, and it allows him to be able to defeat Hantengu in a very, very quick manner. And it seems like everybody's going to start basically learning and getting and being granted their kind of Demon Slayer marks as they progress. And as all this is said and done, and as Nezuko would even conquer the sun during this type of situation, this is when things would ramp up drastically. Because the Hashira would meet, they would begin a training kind of facility for them. They would train their absolute asses off, and Tanjiro would get even more powerful by the minute, learning more about sun breathing, and even not even keeping up with the likes of the mist Hashira, other known as Muchiro, but just straight up being better than him. And this just makes everyone else better. At the end of the day, even people start training with Tanjiro, believing that he can create and make them better with what their breathing styles already are, and it allows them to basically take the mantle of the copy breathing Hashira. And as this all ensues, as Tanjiro shows his capabilities, keeping up with Hashira or even defeating them in the likes of battle, let's just say there's a lot of confidence coming from the Hashira, but Muzan does not lack confidence either, because he believes that they are so far above them, so much better than them, and basically way beyond that of humans, that there's no way that there's a chance that they somehow keep up. But Muzan couldn't be more wrong, because when they would get placed in the Infinity Castle, when Tanjiro would go to strike Muzan, but unfortunately wouldn't get his opportunity and would be forced to face off with Akaza, with obviously Giyu by his side, the more Akaza fights, the longer the fight goes, the more Tanjiro foresees. And he sees so much with Akaza's fighting that he realizes that Akaza, he senses killing intent, and Tanjiro finds a way to perfect that as well, copying more and more of what Akaza is able to do and reading his movements to a degree that is beyond even Akaza's comprehension. And Tanjiro walks Akaza down as he dodges, as he weaves, and he tells Akaza that he's seen through it all. He's seen through his technique, he's seen through his abilities, and he's seen through every last one of them. And there's nothing left for Akaza to do here except die. And as he says this, he would utilize sun breathing, and he would slice the neck off Akaza, combining it with thunder breathing, a thunderclap, and flash. And as that would end, and as that would ensue, Tanjiro would have Akaza defeated, and Giyu would pat him on the back, saying he did a hell of a job, and that they have so many more people, Hashira, and loved ones to basically secure, or even kind of like either help out or have a vengeance, right, for them, or, you know, have avenged them, right? So that's what they're going to do, and that's exactly what's going to happen when Tanjiro and Giyu get outside to face off with Muzan, and they begin fighting alongside each other, as Tanjiro would cover up any kind of lackluster ability that Giyu basically is lacking. And on top of that, being able to create portals and being able to create some other blood demon arts that Muzan's not expecting, he's learning, or Tanjiro's learning, every last bit that Muzan is doing. So he starts utilizing sun breathing to a degree that only Muzan has seen one other person even do, and that is the one and only Yorichi. All he sees is Yorichi in every movement. He can't believe it, but anger would flow within him, and he would do everything in his power to end it, to end Tanjiro, to do something about this so-called Yorichi look-alike, and all he sees is him. He just sees the face of Yorichi over and over and over again, and Tanjiro refuses to basically stop. He's unrelenting. He refuses to give up, and he refuses to slow down. And eventually, the other Hashira, or some of them, enter the fray and enter the battle. Even Zenitsu is there, showing off his thunder god clap and flash type of 7th form. And as Tanjiro sees this, he smirks. Muzan sees it as well, and shock would run wild on his face because Tanjiro would copy it as well, and they would begin bursting all around the area, and Tanjiro would be stalling, slicing his neck off over and over again, and eventually sun would come up, and the sun would come up on a brand new world and a brand new day because Muzan has been defeated, and Tanjiro Kamado stands right there. Stands there staring and stands there watching as the sun would be fully up, and Nezuko would come running, and she would tell her brother not only is she proud of him, but he did it. He absolutely did it. They saved everyone. Everyone is saved, at least to an extent. Some of the Hashira definitely still would die, but they saved the world. That is what they did. And the deaths that happened, none of them will be in vain, and they will be the reason why eventually this world will be able to know a long-term peace. And it's all because of Tanjiro. But Tanjiro would shake his head and says that he might have played a role in it, but it's because of all of them. He wouldn't have been able to copy and push himself beyond belief if it wasn't for them. From Urokodaki to all the Hashira alike, they are the reasons why this world is now cleansed of demons and cleansed of the disgusting creature that is known as Muzan Ki Butsuji. But that is the end of this story. If you enjoyed, please show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. All that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, do all that stuff like I said. And I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.